Welcome back to The Explainer. So today we're unpacking a really fascinating analysis of 15 biblical calcium bombs that honestly your body might just be begging for. We're going to look at how ancient diets fueled some pretty incredible bone health way before we had modern supplements on the shelves. Now, you're definitely going to want to stick with me to the end because we've got a surprising tiny little seed to talk about. Most of us walk right past it at the grocery store, but it packs an absolute wallop of calcium. Oh, and right up front, just a quick reminder, this is an informational breakdown of our source material, not professional medical advice, okay? Always check in with your doctor before switching up your diet or health routine. Let's get into it.
So, are your bones quietly giving up? The tricky thing about low calcium is that it rarely announces itself. It's super sneaky. It usually shows up silently. Maybe you get a random muscle cramp in the middle of the night, or your nails are getting brittled, or your teeth just seem to chip a little too easily. Basically, your bones are quietly giving up their reserves, and by the time a scan actually shows the damage, it's usually been building up for years. But here's the really cool historical context we're diving into today. Thousands of years ago, people were actually getting everything they needed from food. We're talking about historical staples that pop up time and time again in ancient texts and biblical records.
Here is exactly how we've got this organized for you today. First up, the silent bone thief. Then, dairy and ocean bounties. After that, seeds, nuts, and legumes. Then we'll hit heavyweight greens and fruits. And finally, building your calcium habit. Section 1. The silent bone thief, the missing address.
Okay, let's dive into this because it's absolutely crucial. The first thing we really need to grasp here is that simply eating calcium just isn't enough to protect your bones. You could literally eat all the calcium in the world, but if your body doesn't know what to do with it, it's basically a wasted effort. The source material uses this brilliant analogy. Think of calcium without vitamin D like mailing a letter, but forgetting to light the address on the envelope. I mean, the letter is in the system, right? But your body can't actually get it where it needs to go. Vitamin D acts as that exact address, making sure the calcium gets delivered straight into your skeleton where it belongs.
Section 2, Dairy and Ocean Bounties, the ancient staples.
So these were the absolute staples that fueled ancient families. And remember, this was in a world completely without refrigeration or modern pharmacies. Let's look at this ancient dairy triad. First up is milk. Historically, this was a totally reliable, year-round source of nourishment, and it delivers a massive 300 milligrams of calcium per cup. Plus, it's naturally bundled with that crucial vitamin D we just talked about. Then we have cheese. By squeezing the water out of milk, ancient people essentially created this super portable, shelf-stable protein that was perfect for soldiers and travelers. Just 1 ounce of cheese packs around 200 milligrams of calcium. And finally, yogurt, or what a lot of ancient texts refer to as curds. This fermented option gives you roughly 300 milligrams of calcium while also offering some incredible probiotic support for your gut. And hey, if you're someone dealing with lactose sensitivity today, aged hard cheeses and yogurt are both really excellent gentle workarounds.
Now, this nutritional power goes to a whole other level when we look to the sea. Sardines are, quite frankly, a true nutritional powerhouse. Think about it. Small, bone-in sardines are pretty much the perfect calcium delivery system. You're getting 300 to 350 milligrams per can, and they pack their very own vitamin D and omega-3 fatty acids. They literally write their own delivery address, which is amazing. Now, to be completely impartial here, the source does note some medical caveats. If you're managing blood pressure, you definitely need to watch the sodium content, and if you've got a history of gout, those high purines in sardines mean you should absolutely consult your doctor first.
Section 3, Seeds, Nuts, and Legumes, the Pantry of the Near East.
Moving inland now, let's open up the pantry of the Near East. We're talking about the shelf-stable, plant-based provisions that ancient armies carried and that archaeologists constantly find in digs all across the region. Bone health is very much a team sport, and these foods, they bring the teammates. Almonds provide about 75 milligrams of calcium, but they are packed with magnesium, which is what helps regulate exactly where that calcium ends up. Then you've got chickpeas bringing 80 milligrams, along with this really great, sustained, slow-digesting energy. And white beans are just incredible. They deliver a solid 160 to 190 milligrams of calcium right alongside some gut-healthy resistant starch. Just a quick heads up from the text, though, when you start adding these legumes, do it slowly to avoid any digestive discomfort. And if you're prone to kidney stones, definitely keep an eye on the oxalates in those almonds. Now, what's really interesting about this next one, prepare yourself for a massive number here, 900 to 1,000 milligrams. That is the amount of calcium found in just 100 grams of whole sesame seeds or tahini. Yep, this is that tiny seed we teased at the very beginning of the explainer. Just 1 single tablespoon gives you 70 to 90 milligrams, which totally rivals dairy. But again, the source neutrally points out 2 important caveats here. Sesame is a major recognized food allergen, and it's also relatively high in oxalates. So moderate portions are absolutely key if you have any history of kidney stones.
Section 4, heavyweight greens and fruits, the fields and orchards.
Let's shift our focus over to the hearty, kind of unglamorous vegetables. These were the foods that historically got families through the leanest, harshest months, and their benefits are heavily backed by modern nutrition science. I mean, just look at these numbers. Collard greens rival a glass of milk with 250 to 270 milligrams of highly bioavailable calcium, mostly because they are wonderfully low in oxalates. Dandelion greens, which were historically used as bitter herbs, deliver 140 to 150 milligrams and actually act as a mild diuretic. And turnip greens? They bring about 200 milligrams alongside some really powerful anti-inflammatory compounds. But here is the most crucial part. All of these greens provide immense amounts of vitamin K. That's the nutrient that directs calcium straight into your bones and completely away from your arteries.
So the really critical point here is understanding how these incredible nutrients interact with modern medicine. Because the vitamin K in these greens is so extremely high, patients who are on blood thinners, like warfarin, need to be careful. The medical consensus highlighted in our source material is that you don't necessarily have to avoid them completely, but you absolutely must maintain total consistency in your intake and always work under a doctor's guidance. And that exact same rule applies for dandelion greens if you're on prescribed diuretics or turnip greens if you're currently managing thyroid medications.
Rounding out the produce section, we have historically celebrated super fiber-rich figs. They pack a really impressive 100 to 120 milligrams of calcium per half cup. Now, the source also introduces okra and broccoli into the mix. And while they aren't strictly biblical foods, they are phenomenal, easily accessible partners for your daily calcium intake. Okra brings about 80 milligrams along with some wonderful blood sugar support, while broccoli offers 60 milligrams right alongside some highly studied cancer-protective compounds. And those plant-based partners actually bring us to another fantastic analogy from the text. If calcium acts as the bricks for your skeleton, then vitamin C acts as the mortar. Vitamin C, which you'll find heavily in oranges, broccoli, and turnip greens, actually builds the collagen scaffolding inside your bones that those calcium bricks attach themselves to. It's like a giant puzzle fitting perfectly together. Just keep in mind that with things like citrus, you'll want to be mindful of acid reflux. Plus, choosing the whole fruit over juices is always a smart move to help prevent those rapid blood sugar spikes.
Section 5. Building your calcium habit. Practical steps.
So, we have covered a lot of ground today. What does this all mean, and how can you realistically apply this explainer to your own modern pantry, starting right now? Well, here is the core takeaway laid out really simply. You absolutely do not need to try and eat all 15 of these foods every single week. No way. The goal is to just pick 3 or 4 of your favorites from this list, work them into meals you already know you enjoy to build a really consistent habit. Because at the end of the day, consistency over years is what actually protects your bone density. And step 3, as we've noted throughout this whole explainer, always align your diet with your personal doctor's advice based on your own unique health history.
From the ancient Near East straight to your kitchen table today. Whether it's the incredible nutritional synergy of a tin of sardines, the massive calcium density of sesame seeds, or just a hearty side of collard greens, which of these ancient staples will you add to your modern pantry to help protect those bones? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope this sparked a bit of curiosity for your next trip to the grocery store.